Where were you in the summer of 2020? If you were like myself and millions of others, you were online. It was the only place you could really be with people in the middle of a pandemic. Though they are not new features of the internet, socializing, communicating, and connecting were completely revolutionized because of COVID-19. People were going to school online, going to work online, even getting married online. It was only a matter of time before political action would too take place online. In the wake of the murder of George Floyd at the hands of Minneapolis PD, the internet was flooded with black squares. Though their original intention was to show solidarity for the Black Lives Matter movement and to provide resources and information about the movement, that, like many things on the internet, became a trend and lost its meaning. Here, more clearly than ever, the line between real activism and what researchers call slacktivism was crossed. There is a fine line between genuine activism that happens to be online and slacktivism that is often performative and empty and ultimately hurts the causes you are trying to support. To end slacktivism, however, we must first know what it is, why it's so easy to slip into, and how to actually stop yourself from being a slacktivist. So what is slacktivism? Researchers from Boston and Purdue University, in an essay titled Beyond Slacktivism, examining the entanglement between social media engagement, empowerment, and participation in activism, define slacktivism as a lazy form of activism whereby individuals limit their participation to social media activity rather than on-site involvement. They consider exclusively online activism slacktivism. However, other researchers contest this definition. In an article from El País, an activist employed by Amnesty International said that digital activism did not kill or replace in-person activism, but rather emphasized it. They recognized the power of online activism in educating audiences and giving voices to otherwise unheard voices. The internet provides a platform for education, but also autonomy. Someone who is underrepresented in Senate or Congress or even at the polls can have a platform online. But even these voices are few and far between. So where do we non-influencers fall? How can people without large platforms avoid slacktivism? Researchers say it's all in your intentions, but our intentions aren't always in our control. Researchers at South Korea's Chunging University asked what makes people want to engage in civic activism on social media in a study under the same name. They hypothesized that people share their social and political beliefs because they want to incite conflict or tension, but that turned out to be completely untrue. Social media today is catered to the individual. We like and interact with content we agree with, and as a result, we get more of that content. The same is true when we produce our own content. We are far more likely to reach a stranger who shares the same opinion as we do than a stranger who disagrees with us. Social media is an echo chamber, and as a result, conflict is actually less likely. But Chang-Eng's research also found that it's a human instinct to want to express our value and share them and find people who agree with us. So that's why it's so easy to fall into slacktivism, because it's instinct to find people who agree with us. So we're actually not making any political change because we're sharing our opinions with people who think exactly the same as we do. But if there are instincts, how do we fight those instincts? It's hard to fight instincts. Even if our heart's in a good place, our retweets and reposts aren't often as helpful as we think they are. To do more for the causes we care about, we have to do just that, more. A paper published in the Journal of Diversity in Higher Education titled Activism or Slacktivism provides a guideline for students who want to be activists and at the same time avoid slacktivism. One of their guidelines is that activism must have some risk. Slacktivism circumvents that risk. You can hide behind a screen, you can hide behind a profile, you can be anonymous. So without the risk, there's no real reward. The journal does cite, however, that slacktivism can often lead to activism. A similar concept is in the previously mentioned El País article. They say that you can use your slacktivism as a stepping stone into actual activism. So now that you know what slacktivism is, are you a slacktivist and do you want to be an actual activist? It's easy. Yes, making a post is fine, but it's important to follow that with action. Try making a sign and taking to the streets, participating in local protests, going out to vote, helping mobilize people in your community. Educate your family and your friends, donate your time and effort, and if you're not a people person, that's fine too. You can donate money, food, clothing, toiletries to local shelters and organizations. You can call your representatives or sign petitions. It's so easy to be politically active. It's so important to do more than just post on the internet. We are more valuable to the causes that we care about if we actually take action. In order to avoid slacktivism, we have to pick up the slack.